The date with my sister's friend was so bad that I ended it early, but now the police are waking me up at my door along with my sister. I have no idea how to start this, but I need to vent somewhere. And I saw that many people do it on Reddit. I'm still processing the fact that I just woke up to 2 police officers at my door and my sister behind them, and I swear to God, all this started because I agreed to take her same friend for a drink. That's it. First, a little context. I'm 27 years old, my sister is 25. We're not super close, but we've always gotten along well. Lately, however, she's been acting weird, like getting too involved in my love life, making dumb comments like, "Do you always go out with confident girls? Or do you need someone to challenge you?" Anyway, a couple of weeks ago, she sends me a message asking me for a favor. One of her friends, let's call her Kayla, to not reveal anyone's identity, and this name is easy to remember, had just broken up with her boyfriend apparently and was feeling down. My sister tells me she needs a confidence boost. Just be nice, take her for a drink or something, no pressure. I wasn't too interested, but I accepted. My last dates had been a disaster, and I thought, well, maybe it would be something calm. Spoiler alert, it wasn't calm. Kayla arrived 20 minutes late and didn't apologize. The first thing she said when she sat down was, "Wow, you look shorter than I thought. I'm 5'11", just so you know." She ordered a $17 cocktail without even asking if I would pay. She spent most of the time talking about her ex, about how men are weak now, and how she's used to being treated like a queen. I tried to be polite, I really did, but when she started making fun of the bartender's accent and laughed when I said I worked in IT, saying it was desk jockey energy, I'd had enough. I asked for the bill, split it in half, Venmo requested her. I literally sent her a request and said, "Thanks for coming, I have an early meeting." She made a face like she disliked that and said, "Ah, typical." I left, never messaged her again, and blocked her on Instagram. A couple of days later, when she liked a bunch of my old photos out of nowhere, I thought that was it. Guess what? It wasn't. This morning, literally this morning, I hear a knock on the door around 7:40 a.m. I thought it was a package, even though it was very early for that. It wasn't a package, it was 2 uniformed police officers. My sister was right behind them, looking like she had been crying with a freaking tissue in her face. One of the officers says they're here to ask me some questions. I'm not under arrest, they just want to talk. I'm still half asleep, shirtless, standing there like, what the heck is going on right now? Then he says, "Kayla has made an accusation about something that happened after a date last week. She says there was unwanted physical contact." My brain completely froze. I said, "We had a drink, and I took an Uber home." I didn't even walk her to her car, and the officer says, "We're just here to hear your side." Meanwhile, my sister finally looks at me and says, "Just tell the truth, this doesn't have to get worse." What? What truth? What is even being suggested here? I told the police I had nothing more to say without a lawyer and closed the door. Now I'm pacing around my living room like a maniac and trying to gather every piece of evidence from that night. Uber receipt with the time recorded, Venmo message to my friend where I complained that the date was a nightmare. I even found the time the Uber dropped me off, 9:52 p.m., directly from the bar to my apartment. I didn't go out after that. I haven't done anything wrong, but the look on my sister's face haunts me more than the police because she didn't look surprised, she looked satisfied, as if she knew this was going to hit me like a truck. Now I'm starting to think that maybe it was never about Kayla. Maybe all of this, the date, the setup, the fake sweetness, maybe it was all my sister's idea. I don't even know what to think. If you've ever been caught off guard like this, I'd like you to tell me your story. Update 1. A few hours have passed. I've barely eaten. I haven't left the house. My phone is at 10% because I've been searching for everything I can find to make sure I'm not going crazy. First, no, I haven't been arrested or formally charged or anything like that yet. I don't even want to write that sentence, but well, that's the reality right now. But the police left after about 10 minutes and said through the door that they might be in contact. So, great. So here I am, sitting in my apartment, trying to remember every detail of a date I didn't even want to go on in the first place. Let's rewind. The night of the date, Kayla arrives late, makes fun of my height, my job, the bartender, barely lets me talk, makes a comment about how real men pay the bill, and when I said we'd split it, she seemed offended, like I'd insulted her whole family. I send her half via Venmo, I leave in an Uber for home. No hugs, no kisses, no contact, nothing. That's it. That's literally all that happened. Today, I found out that she told the police that I followed her home and tried to enter uninvited, which is completely made up. I didn't even see what kind of car she drove. I took an Uber. I checked the receipt again. Arrival at 9:52 p.m. I messaged my group chat at 9:56 p.m. saying, I want to launch myself into the sun after that date. I have that proof. What makes it worse is that when the police were here, my sister was here. My sister was quiet until the end. Then she said we all make mistakes and I should confess before this gets worse. I haven't spoken to her since. She sent 2 messages, vague things like, please think about how you handled that night, as if she's trying to manipulate me into confessing to something that didn't happen. So now I'm remembering, gathering evidence, trying to piece together anything I might have forgotten. Here's the part I didn't mention in the original post because it didn't seem important at the time. When we were at the bar, she brushed my arm once, leaned in falsely, close, and laughed at something she herself said, then touched my arm and looked at me. I didn't even react because it felt forced. I remember thinking, is she trying to flirt or make me uncomfortable? I couldn't tell. Then, when the bill came and I split it, she said, "Chivalry is really dead." Now I wonder if she thought that would be her big opportunity, like she could mooch a free meal and an attractive rebound to feel better about her breakup. And when I left, I embarrassed her. But here's where things get really bad. I called a mutual friend who knows both Kayla and my sister from their friend group. Let's call her Mad, and I asked her directly if she'd heard anything weird about me. She went very quiet and then said, "Look, I wasn't supposed to say anything, but Kayla has been angry since you ghosted her. She thought you were leading her on." I said, "I paid half the bill and left early. What part of that's leading someone on?" And she said, "I don't know, I just know she was angry." Then she told me something my sister said. "He's always been a bit arrogant, and maybe this will bring you down a peg or two." I think I was breathless for a couple of minutes. So now I'm here with confirmation that not only is Kayla lying about what happened, which we already knew, but my own sister is supporting the lie to teach me some kind of lesson. What kind of lesson is this? That I should have forced myself to like someone who was rude and condescending from the start? That I should have kept messaging her to preserve her ego? That rejecting a second date is some kind of crime? I've started putting together a folder on my laptop with everything, all the information I already told you, plus a voice memo of my call with Mad. I started recording in the middle of the conversation, not the whole conversation, but enough. Screenshots of Kayla liking my photos the day after the date. A screenshot of my block history on Instagram showing when I blocked her. If this turns into something more serious, I'm not going to show up empty-handed. I'm also thinking about making it serious myself, though first I want to get out of the spotlight too. For those who are asking, no, I didn't kiss her. We barely made eye contact. It wasn't a date, it was a favor. But I guess that didn't matter once her pride was hurt. My biggest question now is why my sister was part of this. She knows me. We've lived together, traveled together, shared our childhood. She knows I'm not that kind of person. So what changed? I don't know if this is about control or envy, or if she was simply manipulated by a dramatic friend, but either way, she set my life on fire. Why? What does she get out of all this? Anyway, I'll post more once I know if this is going to amount to nothing or not. For now, I'm documenting everything. If she wants to lie, she'll have to do it under a microscope. And if my own sister wants to play dumb, great for her too. Update 2. All right, things have just gotten much worse. Seriously, I didn't think this could go any deeper into the abyss, but I was wrong. Very wrong. If you've been following this, prepare yourself, because the part I'm about to tell makes everything before seem like a warm-up. It all started with my attempt to get ahead of this legally. I contacted a lawyer today. Nothing fancy, just a local guy a friend recommended. I told him what happened, sent him everything I'd gathered. He said what I already suspected. Right now, technically, I'm not in serious trouble yet. But if Kayla decides to file something officially, I must be prepared. Then he asked the most important question anyone has asked me so far in real life. Is there any possibility that this was planned? I hadn't told anyone this. I had thought about it, but I didn't want to be the paranoid guy yelling conspiracy. But he said he'd seen things like this before, false accusations used to gain fame, revenge, or to control someone, especially when there's a third person involved fueling the situation. That's when I realized that I hadn't checked my sister's location history. We used to have each other added on an app. I thought it was still activated. I opened it. Guess where she was the night of the date? At the same bar. Not across town like she said she'd be, not working late like she told me the day before. She was literally in the same bar, across the street in another spot, but practically in the bar. And the time was exactly the same time I was with Kayla. I don't even know how long she stayed, but the coincidence was enough to keep gathering evidence. I took screenshots immediately. Now I know she was nearby, maybe not at the table with us, but definitely close enough to find us if she wanted to, or to pick up Kayla after my supposed attack. Not only is she lying, but she should be my character witness if it weren't for the fact that she's orchestrating everything. But wait, it gets worse. Remember how I said Kayla claimed I followed her home? Well, I asked Matt again exactly what Kayla told everyone. I was trying to see if her story had changed. Mad went silent again. She's been hesitant all this time. Finally, she said, "Okay, look, Kayla told us she was crying in the parking lot and you cornered her next to her car, that you said something about not liking being rejected, but she had told us herself that you took an Uber before." She answers, "I know." I told her that made no sense, but your sister backed her up, saying, "Surely it was all very confusing for Kayla because of how hard the situation was." And that's when the final piece of the puzzle fit. My sister literally coached Kayla on what to say, probably after the date, when Kayla got upset because I didn't play along. I bet my sister picked her up, encouraged her, said, "He made you pay after all that? You deserve something better than that. He always does this to girls," etc. And from there, they invented the story that I followed her, that I did something I never did. And the most unsettling part is that if I didn't have that Uber receipt, this could have ruined my life, literally, legally, and publicly ruined. The lawyer told me that the false accusation itself isn't criminal unless it becomes an official police report. So far, what the police did was an informal investigation. They didn't file the formal complaint, with which they are playing it smart to not have legal problems. But if they do, I'm absolutely going to file a counter-report, which I will do the moment this advances further. But honestly, I'm tired of waiting. This isn't just a girl being dramatic. This is my sister, someone I trusted, playing social puppet master with someone's reputation, with my reputation. I told my parents tonight, since we still hadn't spoken and I didn't have all the proof that their daughter was involved. Well, now they know, and although they doubted because a daughter of theirs wouldn't do something like that, the evidence ended the discussion in seconds. Then I showed them the messages, the receipts, the screenshot, and they both went silent. My mom finally asked why she would lie, and all I could say was, "I don't know, but she did." I haven't heard anything from my sister yet. She hasn't apologized. She hasn't given any explanations, just silence. I'm not going to go to her. I'm going to let her come to me. I'm not going to give her information that I know what she did. I'm going to let her fall into her own trap. I've started writing a complete breakdown of everything, without names, without direct accusations, but with enough detail. I'm thinking of publishing it if this keeps advancing. I don't want revenge. I want the truth to be out there before someone else tries to twist it. Update 3. I did it. I published it. I put together the whole story, everything I had, and I dropped it on a local subreddit from a fake account. I deleted names, locations, everything. I made it bulletproof. But I explained it from beginning to end. The date, the weird vibe, the Venmo, the Uber receipt, the false accusation, the mutual friend admitting my sister was involved, the screenshots showing she was nearby the whole time. I titled it with something catchy that I'm not going to say for privacy, and I left it there. I didn't share it with anyone. I didn't message anyone about it. I didn't even give it an upvote. I just left it and walked away. It took maybe 3 hours before it started to spread. First, it reached 200 upvotes. Then someone PM'd me asking if I was talking about a girl named Kayla. Then someone else commented, "Wait, this sounds exactly like that girl crying outside that bar last week." It was already rolling. People started connecting the dots. Although I didn't give names, Kayla is anything but subtle. She's the type who makes everything revolve around her, posts every night out, and constantly posts more than is good for her. Her friends knew it. Probably half the city knew she had that date within a day. Someone else posted screenshots of a close friend of Kayla's Instagram story. Things like, "Never trust a man who works in IT," and how ignoring someone quickly becomes real harassment. Right after our date. The timeline matched perfectly. And then someone dropped a bomb. A message she apparently sent to one of her friends that literally said, "He totally humiliated me. He made me feel small. I wanted to let it go, but sister's name told me I needed to get revenge. I should have done it." I screenshotted it immediately. I haven't even had to say anything more. The post speaks for itself. Now, it's been shared in at least 2 community Facebook groups. Someone even put it on Twitter with the caption, "Imagine lying on a dude because he didn't want a second date." In this era, people record everything. And yes, my sister saw it. She called me this morning, the first time I've heard her voice since the police came. She said, "Are you happy? You're ruining her life." I swear to God. I'd never felt so much rage in my life. I told her, "You helped her try to ruin mine, so I'm not just going to ruin hers. I'm going to ruin yours too." She replied, "This is why you need a lesson. There wasn't any formal complaint with the police. You just had to let it go, let it go." I said, "You tried to teach me a lesson, but you're going to learn the lesson now." She hung up. I told my lawyer everything. He's on alert in case Kayla actually files something formal. So far, she hasn't done it. He said that if she keeps spreading something false, I can proceed with a case for defamation. I hope it doesn't come to that, but at this point, I'm not going to let anything slip. My parents are furious, not with me, with her. My mom cried after reading the post. My dad told my sister to stay away from the house for a while. He said he needed time to process who she had become. They're not the type to cut off their children easily, but even they know this isn't an argument over a Christmas present. Meanwhile, Kayla has been completely silent. No public posts, no stories, no responses to anything. She hasn't retracted her lie officially, but I think she realized she can't keep up with it. I even heard she lost a job she was trying to get after someone reported the Reddit thread with her name. Well, no apology, no responsibility, just retreat. But I don't care. She can cry about this all she wants. She had a choice, and she took it. Now I'm taking mine. And my sister? I no longer have words for her. This nonsense ends now, whether she likes it or not. She stood behind someone who lied to the police, and now that people are pointing her out, she's crying about the consequences as if she was the victim. No. Now it is her turn to live with this, to live with hell, and it is the hell of truth what affects her. Update 4. It's been almost a month since all of this started. I've moved. I packed my things, left the city, and transferred to a remote position at my job. I don't want to say where. I'm not trying to disappear, but I needed distance, and after what happened, I'm not going to give anyone from that circle another opportunity to ruin my life. I haven't spoken to my sister once. She has sent messages a few times, mostly trying to make me feel guilty. Now apparently, it was just a joke, and I do not know how to laugh a bit. I did not respond. You cannot try to frame me for something that could have ruined my whole life and then act as if it were just a joke that got out of control. This was not a joke. This was a lie that could have taken me to court or worse. Now she's very sorry, but I do not care that she regrets. I do not care. It is a shame. I hope she feels it, but none of that changes what she did. I spoke with my parents once more before leaving. Both were still unable to believe it, trying to figure out what led her to do this. My mom was crying, saying things like, "This is not her," and I had to tell her, "No, this is who she is. You just didn't want to see it." They have also stayed away from her. My dad directly told her to stay away until she truly took responsibility. She didn't like that. She posted a couple of things on her social media talking about our parents. She blocked me everywhere, then unblocked me a week later. Still nothing that resembles an apology. As for Kayla, she disappeared, she vanished, she deleted her Instagram. The last thing I knew is that she dropped out of a networking program she was in because someone there confronted her about the post. Apparently, she told them everything had been exaggerated, but she hasn't filed anything legally because she can't, because it was a lie and she knows it. She knows that if she tries to clean up her image with a false complaint to make me look like the bad guy, I'm going to strike back. Well, actually, I already am. The post I made on Reddit is still being shared. Some people figured out it was her, even though I never mentioned her name, and from what I've seen, her reputation is ruined. Not because I ruined it, but because people saw the truth. That's her business. People keep asking me how I am. I don't know how to answer that. I'm functioning. I wake up, I work, I sleep. Well, this last one sometimes. I started therapy last week. In the first session, I couldn't even talk for the first 10 minutes. I just sat there. The therapist asked me what had brought me in, and I said, my sister tried to destroy me because her friend couldn't handle rejection. She didn't know what to do until she started writing. So yes, that's how I am now. All of this made me paranoid in ways I didn't expect. I double-check my locks now. I back up every text conversation. I feel uncomfortable when someone compliments me. I don't trust anyone who knows someone I know. It's like I've been reprogrammed. And I keep thinking, what would have happened if I didn't have that Uber receipt? If I hadn't saved those text messages? Would I be here writing this? Or would I be in a cell? That's why I'm also pursuing a lawsuit. Is it something that will fix my life and make me feel safer? Obviously not, but if you take into account that I don't feel that way now, and I don't have much money, and in case I win, I can feel that way and have a lot of money. I don't think there's much to think about. The approach we will give the lawsuit is not for defamation, because what she did has not affected me that way, but we are going to defame for the psychological damage they have caused, and if that does not make me a millionaire, which to be fair, neither do I expect it, because it will be a lawsuit of a few $1,000s, the simple fact that the lawsuit exists, I think that it is going to have more consequences for them. If you are on my side in this lawsuit, it's time for you to pray for me, wish me luck, and send me all the positive vibes. I feel that my case can be a good first step so that people don't think that they can do these nonsense, and if they do, that they will have consequences. You have my word that I will return even if all this does not lead to any positive place. Update 5. More than a year has taken the lawsuit, but it has been worth it, at least from some aspects that I will tell you. I don't know how many people will remember my story after this time because I haven't published in a long time, nor have I been answering comments. But to those who are still interested in my story, here it goes. We did a lawsuit for both Kaya and my sister. There was a lot of evidence linking my sister behind Keela's lie. The lawsuit itself has not had great consequences, only a few $1,000s that they have to pay me each. Goodbye to the dream of being a millionaire, but they are $1,000 that I am going to enjoy like you can't imagine. What is interesting or karmic is what that lawsuit caused. Kayla has not reopened her social networks, and as far as I have been able to find out, and I am confident that the true information has had to move out of the city. If at least she was not going to pay me more than that, at least the city should make a statue with me. I do not live there, but I have been in charge of removing a rat from the city. That has to be worth something, doesn't it? Sorry they have been too, because my sister has also left. Not only was she fired, she lost her apartment and was living with an aunt, sister of our father, but with the lawsuit she was also kicked out of there. I don't know what lie she was living with her, but after being kicked out by my aunt, she went to beg our parents for money because according to her, their son had ruined her. As expected, my parents gave her nothing, and she moved out of the city in search of work. According to the information I have, it is neither in my new city, nor have they moved together. I know they can't even see each other, especially Kayla to my sister, so that would be all. I wanted the psychological damage to be worth at least a couple of private islands. Ha ha. It's a joke. I can say that I am better from that aspect, so the consequences of the lawsuit, although they are not high in the economic sense, have been in the fare that they lose. Everything, a couple of people who want to ruin others only for those reasons should be the standard. I hope this sets a precedent. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and like to hear more similar stories.